How's it going, everybody? And welcome to another session of the Let's Talk Show by Interlingua. As usual, I am your host, Mike Ruiz, and today we have a very special show for you guys because chances are that by the end of the show, you will either spend time with your mom, text your mom, call your mom, whatever you can do to share a moment with your respective mother, because that is what the show is all about today. Motherhood. We have two sides of the same coin. We have a daughter and we have a mother. You will find out as well that they are both different scenarios completely from one another, but in a way, they complement each other. In the best case, they accomplish a very beautiful unity. But what about you guys? As the show goes by, be sure to click on the comment section and participate a little bit to share us what is your relationship with your mom? What do you do to spend time with your mom? What do you guys like to do together? There has to be some common activities between you guys. In my case, I love to watch movies with my mom. Thanks to her, I also, listen to a lot of music from when she was young. She passed them on to me, and now I'm an 80s music expert. But this show is not about me. The show is about our guests telling us what they have to share with us. So, without further ado, we have some guests making their return to the Let's Talk show, and each of them they're going to tell us about their experience. As I said, one as a daughter and one as a mother. Respectfully, let's bring out Daniela and Maripaz. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
things are going pretty well.
Tell me, guys, in your opinion, how important do you think the bond is between a mother and their respective kid or kids? Daniela.
How important is the bond? I don't know. I don't know if it's a matter of importance. In most cases, we learn it should be natural more than important. And basically, that's where it comes to. There is a bond that you cannot see, obviously, or get rid of sometimes, depending on each one's situation. But it's there. That's definite. It's there. Whether it is your birth mother or if you were adopted or if it's a stepmother, the role, I think, is what matters more than the bond.
All right. What about you, Maripaz?
Yes, I agree with Danny. It doesn't matter if it is your biological mother, because I have two friends who were adopted. They didn't even know, their mother was their mother. That was it for most of their life. And I think it's very important to have a caregiver that plays this role totally. There are even myths, there are even some traditions that say, hey, if your mother rejected you, you are cursed, you are doomed, I'm sorry, you're cursed for life. But I think what it means is you really need someone to be with you during your first years of life, who takes care of you, and that is a very important thing.
From your respective perspectives, oh my God, tell me, what are some aspects to keep in mind when you are building a relationship, Danny, in your case with your kids, Maripaz with your mother?
I think through the example, I usually, in order to teach my kids that we should respect each other or that we should trust each other, is by giving them examples. Like, I don't know, whenever they're both fighting, I will ask them, "Have you ever seen me and my brother fight? Like, do we usually argue?" "No, no, you don't really." "Okay, so that's because we are brother and sister and we respect each other and we love each other. Have you noticed that your grandma and I usually tell each other things?" "Yeah, yeah, you usually do." "Okay, so that's because we trust each other. I know that I can trust my mom, and she knows that she can trust me. So that's the way it is." Fortunately for me, I think it has worked out because they both like to tell me pretty much everything that goes on at school, like whether they're having trouble or if they got a really good note or not, in my boy's case. But they will usually approach and talk to me about whatever is going on with them. And I don't judge, I just listen to them. Usually, I will make a comment such as, "You must feel really sad," or "That must have felt really, really good," just to support what they just told me. And I think it has worked out. Like, I don't usually scold them or I don't usually tell them what to do or what not to do, unless it's utterly necessary.
That was so sweet. Thank you very much. What about you, Maripaz?
I would say trust is probably the most important thing in the mother and daughter relationship, or mother and son. In my case, yes. When I was younger, I used to tell my mom everything. I have these memories of like sitting on the kitchen table and my mother was cooking like five things at the time, and she was washing the dishes, and I was telling her, "So my mom," and we loved to gossip. Like we were like, "Oh, remember my friend when yeah, you know what happened with her?" No, and we were like, we are still like that. Like I sometimes tell her, "Do you have this person on Facebook? Did you see what happened to him?" No, and we will still gossip to this
Wow.
day. I think what changes is you don't tell your mom everything sometimes as you grow older because you don't want to worry her, you know. As my mom is so far away, if I tell her, "Mom, I got sick," she will be like, "Oh, no, 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 I will light a candle for you," and be like, "Oh, please God." And I'm like, "Mom, it's just a cold. Like, seriously, I'm fine. I'm not gonna, like, but you need to have some chicken broth, and I can't give it to you, and because I'm not there.
Um,
Mama, in a week I will be fine. It's all good." He worries too much. So, like, if I fall from my bike, I won't tell her. Why won't tell her? Because will just advise me to stop riding my bike altogether. So that that might change, but I think trust is the foundation. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Moving on to the next question. Do you think that motherhood in general has gone through some changes throughout the course of time? Daniela.
Definitely. Definitely. I don't know. It's overwhelming at times how you as a mother have to adapt to these new changes, but also try to balance it with what you learned that you thought worked, um, and what you cannot do. For example, my mom would never ever touch me. Like, she would never hit me, but she was strict. Like, I knew I could not say certain words or I could not talk to her in a certain way because she made it clear. She talked to me and very seriously she said, we're not the same, so no, don't talk to me like that. And physical violence used to be very common in the past. That's the way many things were solved. And now it's a no-no. You cannot even dare to think about it. And nowadays there's this approach of positive discipline or positive whatever, in which you basically have to let your kids do and be whatever they want and feel like. And that is tough. Some things I don't agree with, and sometimes I make my own decisions and say, no, I'm not going to do this. This is not going to work, or this is not the way I want to do this. And I don't know, so far, yes, it's changing. There is technology. My daughter, for example, she's 11 years old, and she sometimes feels neglected because she's like the only one in her classroom who does not own a TikTok account or Instagram, or she's not allowed by us to belong to any social media because she's 11 years old. So we were informed before, we read and we learned that it was not an appropriate age because it's dangerous, because they can get exposed to things that they're not ready for. It's not their time yet. And so we talked to her and we said, yeah, we understand that you feel neglected and that you feel different. You are different. Fortunately for you, I mean, we read and we were informed and we know the disadvantages and the advantages, but not until you are a certain age, not until you are older. And in the meantime, you can talk about many other things, TV shows, music, the teachers, boys, girls, whatever you want to talk about, but no, I'm sorry. So she was like, okay. Now she's the top of her class. She's a teacher's pet. She gets straight A's, and that's my argument. Like, okay, yes, you don't have this. You're different. However, look at the results. I mean, something is working. We're doing something right here. And she knows how to use a computer. She knows how to use different apps. She plays from time to time. She has a cell phone. She has a cell phone number, but we are very careful as to what she is exposed to and who she can talk to and who she shouldn't. So I think, yeah, these changes are sometimes overwhelming and difficult to handle. But first of all, I think you have to be informed. You have to be there. Just be there. Pretty much. That's what I could say.
Wow. I mean, in the end, she has the rest of her life to worry about her social media persona and with the stress that comes along,
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for sharing that. Now, Maripaz, have you noticed any difference or differences between motherhood from previous years as of today? Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is very different now. The times are changing fast. And I think Danny's approach is great. It is really great. Because children are exposed to all of this and they now grow and have all these issues, like even self-image issues. So I think in the end, when she grows older, she will be like, my mother protected me. I was safe. I didn't know that. I didn't understand it when I was younger. But I now see all the ways in which my mother kept me safe. And I am so grateful. I can't even describe how grateful I am. But yeah, I think it has changed a lot because now mothers have some other tools. Now, my mother had some books around, encyclopedias, television when she was raising my sister and I. But now I see that some of my friends who have children are implementing, for example, the Montessori method, and they have their rooms like this, and they do a lot of, they educate their children to do the chores, but in an easy, friendly way. And I'm like, why didn't my mom even teach me how to make an egg, or what's up with that? My mother didn't know any better. Like, how was I supposed, like, Chabelo was not going to teach my mother all these things?
Oh,
Oh my god. Yeah. Rest in peace. And
emotional
I
fiber.
I feel it can be very bad, very good. Technology can be great if you use it correctly, like you say. Now I can send pictures to my mom, or we can talk, send messages. We can see what we are eating, where we are. We can talk to each other anytime. So that's an advantage. But yes, we shouldn't just abuse it.
All right. Motherhood throughout the years. Chances are some new things will be coming out, new techniques or principles will be implemented. Who knows? Daniela, when it comes to you, you have two kids, an 11-year-old, as you say, and a 7-year-old boy.
Yeah, that's
Did
right.
I get it? Hell yeah. Now, for a lot of people, most people, by just, taking care of one kid, it's hard enough. You have two. But let's turn the clock a little bit backwards. Were your reactions different from one another every time you found out that you were expecting?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
The first one was very moving because it was very weird. I got pregnant when I was 28.
okay.
And years before, like, I don't know, maybe 6 years before that, I had told some of my friends, and I remember this very clearly. I said, I don't know how, but because at the time I was single, I had been single for 3 years. And I said, I don't know, but I'm just gonna be a mother when I'm 29. I want to be a mother before I'm 30. And so my friends were like, ah, yeah, whatever. And I met this guy when I was 7 or 8. And I got pregnant before my 29th birthday. So my daughter was born when I was 29. When I found out, I was very shocked. I was like, I didn't do it like I'm gonna get pregnant right now so that I be a mother, so that I am a mother when I'm 29. But it was very cool for that to happen at that time. And for some reason I knew that I was going to have a daughter. I felt it, and it was a daughter. It was a girl, and it was very overwhelming. I felt everything at the same time. I felt really, really happy, very scared. What am I gonna do now? I got worried. I got nervous. It's an overwhelming feeling. And with my son, it was a bit different because we had been planning to, almost with a calendar, to get pregnant like 3 years and something after my daughter had been born, because it was a C-section. It was not a natural birth. So
Okay.
the recommendation was to wait for 3 or a little bit more years. So that's what we did. And with him, it was like, okay, yeah, we got it because that's what we wanted, and but I mean, we were both well planned. Let's say, like, we knew what we wanted, So that was my experience.
Maripaz, now talking about your relationship with your mother. As I understand, like you previously said, you were very different. And some years ago than today. Uh, how different, how differently has your relationship with your mother changed with when you were like probably, let's say, a teenage girl, as of now that you are an adult, and with all that, with all that implies that she's, as I understand it right now, she lives far from you. Has that influenced your relationship?
Yes, I try to see the good side of us
Mhm.
living so far away from each other. I mean, because I get to visit her, and for 2 weeks or so, we do everything together, and I take her to places, and we have a great time. But the rest of the time, we do our own thing. I feel when you grow older, you just become more more like yourself, if that makes sense. So since I was
Yeah.
very much younger, since I was a teenager, I was like reading and in my own world, and my mother is a very practical person, very much like that. She likes some TV series. We have common ground, I guess, because we like true crime. So we sometimes send each other cases and like, did you see how this person chopped up his wife and just put her in a fridge? And my mom and I share this very like guilty
I
pleasure.
watched
This
that.
we really like that. But other than that, we show each other things sometimes. Like we watch silly movies and we love it. But if we were to live together, I mean, my mother is very, very organized now, and she's talking all the time and doing things, and I'm more of a calm person, but I'm a mess.
Okay.
I'm an absolute mess. So if my mother ever saw my apartment, she would just have a heart attack probably because I'm doing different things here, there. I have stuff lying around, and she wouldn't really like it. I'm sure. I'm sure we would stress each other out if we try to live together because we have different routines completely. No, we are very, very different. So yeah.
Okay. We'll go back to that one, but I have something in mind for that. Just hang on a second. Daniela. The age gap is not that dramatic between your kids, but it is an age gap nonetheless. 7 and 11. Different ages, different focuses, different environments in their schools, different perspectives on life. Tell me, how do you manage to split your attention for their own needs?
Oh, that's a good one. Because right now they hate each other. They're constantly fighting, and oh my, it's quite an
Sorry.
adventure. It's funny actually. It's amusing and fast. Sometimes it's not, but in general, what we try to do, the thing is that they do extracurricular activities in the afternoon, and they do that on different days. Like my daughter does gymnastics on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and so my son will spend time with my husband or with me at home. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my son does another activity, parkour, And so those days I spend time with my daughter. So usually, because of the activities that they do and mine, I usually spend evenings either reading, doing homework, or working. We during the week it's a little bit hard to spend time all the four of us together. However, on weekends we usually go to parks. We visit my mom or my mother-in-law. If they don't go to school, we will either watch a cartoon or a movie, and we can play board games together, although that doesn't usually work out very well. And because of my son, he cannot handle frustration or losing, or he's pathetic. And so, but we like to spend time together. Oh, we will sometimes also like color or do some art crafts together. So that's how I manage to spend time with both of them. Although, as I said, we usually do it separately. I will either spend time with my son some days or my daughter others.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Sounds like a lot of dedication.
Yeah, it's never boring.
Wow. Thank you so much, Daniela. And now the other side of the coin in that particular situation, but in this case for Maripaz, you having siblings, was there ever a sort of, let's call it, rivalry between you and, let's say, your sister, to find out, to find out who had more of your mother's attention? Like, no, she likes me more. No, she likes me more. She wants to spend time with me. No, she wants to spend more time with me. In that sort of cases, those sort of cases.
Maybe we were just joking around because we grew up with a lot of family members around. So there was like my mother, my grandma, and my aunts and my uncle would visit all the time, or we would spend vacations with them. So we had a lot of people around. My sister and I were more of like, I don't know, like partners in crime, as you would put it. We would be like, oh, I broke this, but don't tell my mom, don't let her find out. And we also told each other everything. And so during my teenage years, I experienced what Danny was describing, that I have such different interests, and my sister didn't get it, so I didn't get her either. But for a while, I will indulge her, I guess. I would be, okay, you know what? Yes, we are going to play with Play-Doh. Okay. Now we're going to play with dolls. We will watch cartoons if you want. Yep. So I was more of a child for a longer time, and I enjoyed it. I think you don't really appreciate those years until they're completely gone. And I was not into this like 15 a 20 magazines or those type of things for a long time, because I had this younger sister, and I was always looking after her. And do you want to go and play some video games? Yeah, okay. Because of that relationship, so we changed each other a lot. And now that we grew up, we also have some things in common, but we don't agree on other things. And I don't know, it's also a really beautiful bond, but it changes. And as siblings, you will always fight. That's a reality, you will like, oh, she used my perfume. Yes, but she took my doll. And you will fight and bicker. But I think it's normal, completely. It's part of it.
Totally. Tensions in one place, sometimes tensions arise. Guys, thank you so much for sharing everything that you did, and thank you so much for taking your time to be once more in the Let's Talk show. Unfortunately, it's time to wrap things up. It's time to say hasta la vista, baby. But once again, Thank you so much for being here, and you are always welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And for all of our viewers, that's it for today. Be sure to tune in on a weekly basis for the Let's Talk show for more conversations, more guests, and more topics. We had Daniela today. We had Maripaz. Eric Rios was in controls. I am Mike. Goodbye and good night. Back.